Welcome back to another video, guys. Today we're going to be talking about why dirty bulking is destroying your gains. But to kick things off, in case you don't know who I am, my name is Anthony. I went from skinny to fit with having a fast metabolism, as most guys say nowadays. I used to say that a lot back then. I've been training for about 7 years at this point, and I'd love to give you guys advice, tips, and just lessons that have helped me along my fitness journey. So this way, you guys won't have to repeat those same mistakes as I made as a former skinny guy with fast metabolism. So this way, you guys can get the results you're wanting to see in your weight gain, your muscle gain journey. So let's kick things off. The very first thing I want to cover is what exactly is dirty bulking for those that don't know what dirty bulking is. And to put it plain and simple, is that you have that eat everything in sight mentality or diet. So basically, you just inhale everything that you see. So cupcakes, chocolate cake, pizzas, burgers, everything that you see, your mom's home cooking, if you're at a restaurant and you're ordering a steak, lobster, pasta, some sort of rice dish. Basically, you get the point here, right? You eat everything that you see that is in your sight. So with this comes no regards to the fat gain. So really when people do dirty bulking, they put weight gain first before anything else. And so with this causes a lot of fat gain, unfortunately, as I mentioned before, because you have that, that main objective is just to gain weight. And when you are eating in mass amounts of surplus, because keep in mind, when you do have that eat everything in sight mentality, you are eating in a very huge, dramatic caloric surplus. I'd say anywhere between 1,000 to maybe even 3,000, right? Kind of like giving some general ranges there. It just really depends. But people who eat in this dirty bulking type of manner, they really eat in a very, very big mass amount of a surplus in calories. So just keep that in mind. So with that, eating in such a high amount of calories or surplus in calories, you're going to gain a lot of fat by doing this. And so typically, as I mentioned already, the kind of foods that dirty bulkers eat, right? They're cakes, burgers, pizzas, anything that you see in sight, right? You may see a lot of videos on TikTok, Instagram, maybe even YouTube of people who are doing kind of like this hard gainer kind of lifestyle. They'll, go to McDonald's, order like 5 different McChickens, a 20-piece McNugget count, or a 20-piece McNugget meal, whatever, whatever it's called, and they'll just eat that in one sitting. And that meal alone is like over what, like 3,000 calories, give or take. Not sure what the numbers are right off the top of my head, but it's a lot of calories. And so you can see with eating a lot of these calories, you're going to get a lot of negatives when it comes to dirty bulking. And one of them, or really the first being, let's see if I can put this down a little bit lower or a little bit higher up here. Okay, there we go. But one of these being is that, as I mentioned before, you gain so much unnecessary fat. You can barely walk 10 minutes without sounding like you're out of breath. And that is such a real thing. So, like, I've done dirty bulking to a certain extent before, and I gained a lot of unnecessary fat. And literally it got to the point where I found it so hard to walk up my parents' stair at their house. Literally, it's not even that big of a staircase. It's just 5 to 10 steps, I think it is. I'm trying to think about that right now. But as you can see, it's not that many steps. And just climbing on it, I was out of breath a little bit. Like, just starting to breathe a little bit hard, right? So when you do dirty bulking, you experience these kind of different things. You can also set yourself up for a really bad relationship with food. And, that could lead to a lot of different, eating disorders. And your cut will ultimately take longer as well, because you're gaining so much unnecessary fat that it's going to take much longer for you to efficiently bring the fat down. And so when you are going on a long cut and you've been eating, or your body is so used to eating mass amounts of junk food, it's going to create for a very bad dynamic that you don't want, right? And that's going to further create for a really bad relationship with food for yourself, and it's just going to mess up your mental altogether in general. So that leads into the to 1, 2, 3, 4. Point number 5. When you look at yourself in the mirror, it's going to mess you up mentally, right? Because you're going to see this person that's unrecognizable. You've gained so much fat that you're probably going to gain a double chin. Your tummy's going to be out. You're probably gonna have stretch marks everywhere, and there's no issues with having stretch marks or being overweight or anything like that. At the end of the day, it's your life. You do you. But from a health perspective, being overweight and gaining so much unnecessary fat is not good for you long term for your health. It's really the worst thing you can do for yourself. And because physically you're out of shape, your cardiovascular health is just trashed. Secondly, there's the mental aspect of things. You look in the mirror, you feel like you're a blob, you feel so sluggish, fatigued, you feel like you can barely do anything. And thirdly, emotionally, because of those other two things that you've been experiencing, you're just a wreck. You're emotionally a wreck. You feel like your emotions are out of control. You start to hate yourself. You start to see the negative in what you're doing, and you feel like you're in a never-ending cycle of wanting to eat more food to make you feel good about yourself, and then just feeling so shitty about yourself once you're done eating those food because you want to finally have the physique that you desire, but you're doing it in the wrong ways, right? You cannot go from skinny all the way to 100, be this massive person who's muscular and whatnot just because you want to do just through dirty bulking, excuse me, right? Just because you want to gain that muscle. That's not how it works, right? As natural lifters, I will emphasize that again, we have to make sure we bulk in a safe and steady way where we're not gaining so much unnecessary fat that's going to cost us our health, but we're still able to gain as much muscle as we can because our nutrition and our training are dialed in. So that leads into the next point, right? The solution to the dirty bulk is plain and simple. Don't do the dirty bulk. What you want to be doing is a lean bulk instead. Now, you might be asking what a lean bulk is, and so I will cover that for you right here. And basically what that is that you're in a very slight caloric surplus of 300 to 500 calories. So your main objective here is purely muscle growth. You're going to gain some fat because you're just going to be in a surplus and you cannot gain fat without gaining muscle. The main thing is, though, that you're minimizing the fat gains, because when you're in a dirty bulk, as I mentioned already, you're gaining so much fat because you're in this super high surplus of calories. But when it comes to a lean bulk, you're toning down the surplus of calories to a very manageable amount. So this way, you don't have to gain so much fat, but you're also gaining a really good amount of muscle if the bulking phase is done correctly, or if the lean bulking phase is done correctly in this case. Another big point, or another positive or pro, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to lean bulking, is that you're relatively toned throughout the entire process of the lean bulk. And that's a great thing for you mentally and emotionally, because you get to see yourself, number one, achieve good gains. Number two, you feel yourself getting stronger and stronger in each of your workouts. And number three, you feel like mentally you're sharper, you're feeling good because you're not as fatigued, you're not as brain fogged as you would be if you were to be on a dirty bulk. So the last point there, mentally and physically, you're feeling good and sane because you're actually efficiently gaining muscle in the proper way that you should be. Next point on is, you might be asking, like, is a lean bulk right for me? And plain and simple, it is right for everyone, in my opinion. I don't think anyone should dirty bulk just because of everything that I've explained in terms of the cons a few minutes ago inside this video. In my opinion, it is the most effective way to build muscle because you won't have to gain the unnecessary fat. Your cardiovascular health will be in check, and honestly, it does not matter if you're a skinny guy with a fast metabolism or just a skinny guy in general who doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to nutrition and training. This will be right for you because this is the most effective way to actually begin a proper bulk where you won't have to essentially sacrifice your health to gain a few extra pounds of muscle, where it's not even muscle, it's just fat gain at the end of the day. So that covers it for this video for today, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. In the description below and inside my bio within my YouTube profile is going to contain my calendar link. So if you are a skinny guy with a fast metabolism who has tried everything and everything under the sun to try to gain weight, try to gain muscle, or maybe you're just a new guy into the gym, but you also have that skinny build with a fast metabolism, and you're just looking to do things the right way without having to make all the mistakes along the process, then feel free to find a good time that works for you to speak with me over the phone, and ultimately let's see if one-on-one coaching is the right fit for you. But until the next video, guys, take care.